Good morning, everybody. It's your boy D Mac. Y'all see I'm on BP time this morning. You know what I'm saying? Forgive me for that, but I'm gonna jump right into this. All right, so we have 61-year-old Mr. Jose Alba, who was working in a gas station in Harlem bodega, and Mr. Austin Simon, 35-year-old black man, comes into the bodega with his girlfriend and her little girl. Mr. Simon swipes the card to pay for the little girl's chips. The card declines. I imagine he tries it again or a few more times and it still declines. He then gets into a verbal altercation with Mr. Alba. Mr. Alba takes the chips out of the girl's hands, the 10-year-old girl's hands, and Mr. Austin comes around the counter and begins to assault Mr. Alba. Mr. Alba is pushed down into a chair, and Mr. Austin is standing over him, yelling at him, I guess saying things that threatens him. And Mr. Alba then comes up out of the chair with a knife in his hand. I guess he had a pocket knife, and he comes up out of the chair and proceeds to stab Mr. Austin Simon in the neck. Mr. Simon dies from his injuries, and Mr. Alba is taken to jail. And now you have the Manhattan DA and the people of New York in an uproar because they feel like Mr. Alba should not be in jail. So I want to bring it to the public court of opinion because we know that the public court of opinion holds a lot more weight than actual court. And this is just my view on it. If I was a juror and I had to make a determination on Mr. Alba being free or Mr. Alba being in jail for second degree murder or even manslaughter, I would have to say that I'm against that totally, 100%. For the simple fact that Mr. Austin Simon was the aggressor. He absolutely 100% was the aggressor. Now, I do understand that Mr. Alba took the chips out of the girl's hands, out of the little girl's hands. That was kind of mean to do. But by no means does that call for you to come around the counter and proceed to beat on this man. This is something that we see way too much of right now in our society. I just saw a video the other day. This young lady went up into a Dollar General store and got into an argument with the lady at the cash register, like they often do. We've seen hundreds of these videos throughout the years. And then the young lady proceeds to beat the Dollar General employee up. And she beat her up pretty good. She got on the floor beating her up, but this young girl made it back to her bag behind the counter, and she came out popping and laid this girl down and started kicking her and beating her in her face. Now, who was wrong in these scenarios that I just painted? Now, the people who ended up losing their life, they were the aggressor. They could have taken another route and they could have chose to handle it a different way. But they chose violence and they chose ignorance. And because they chose violence and ignorance, it was returned with violence and ignorance. And so why are people in an uproar whenever people see this is the problem? This is exactly why America is in the shape it's in right now, because you always taking up for people who are in the wrong. You always trying to smooth it over for somebody you know completely wrong. And then in family talking about some Austin was such a wonderful, loving person. Well, apparently he wasn't, based on the video that we saw and how he was up in that man who was twice his age, his elder, all up in that man's face because his girl card declined. Because that man took his product back that they could not pay for because the card declined. That wasn't that man's fault that card declined. It was his fault that he grabbed those. He may have grabbed the chips in the wrong way. They was having a heated altercation. The man, whatever the case was, you have total control over your actions. And if not, you're going to pay the consequences of those actions that you do not control. That's just it. And so everybody out here talking about Austin Simon, he's such a great father and he deserved everything he got. He put that energy out there, and when it came back to him, he wasn't prepared to take what came. Period. Man, I'm so sick of this country, man, always trying to make excuses for the villain. You're making the villain the good guy and making the good guy the villain. This old man don't deserve to be in jail. He don't deserve to be in prison. You go maybe one or two states to the left or one or two states to the right, and that's a stand your ground situation. And that man does absolutely not one day in jail. What kind of world are we living in? What kind of country are we living in? To where based on your geographic location, that determines whether you're a murderer or whether you're somebody who defended yourself. This is stupid. This is absolutely stupid. And we look stupid sitting here having this conversation about it. This is the dumbest thing I ever had to have a conversation about. What are we even talking about? This young, intimidating looking dude standing over this old man, and we ain't even got to worry about the color because it was a black on brown. So we know how they really feel about that, but that ain't even the topic. So let's get back to what it is. You got this old man with this young, strong dude standing over him, intimidating him, already done put his hands on him and threatening to do it again, and got them posture to very much do so. And that man can't defend himself and get this dude up off of him. And because of that, the dude lost his life. So be it. That he shouldn't have put that energy out there. And people may feel, I don't care how you feel about it. This is what it is. This is the problem. This is exactly why you got so many emboldened people out here who think they can just come out their mouth with anything and treat people any kind of way and ain't no consequences for it. But it's people out here who is your consequence. They're your consequence. You wonder why you can't stand that person, because they're your consequence. They the one who gonna show you exactly who you are, and they don't have no respect for you, and they are there to be that mirror held up in your face to show you and tell you exactly what you are, because they have absolutely no invested interest in your life. Yeah. And some of you need that, because you think that the world owes you something. You think that you are entitled to something. Well, you get exactly what you're entitled to. Best believe you coming with that energy. This world is not playing with you. You come with that energy, you get exactly what you're entitled to. So that right there satisfies your entitlement issues. You get exactly what you're entitled to now. So if you're entitled to getting some hands put on you, if you're entitled to losing your life, then there's your entitlement being fulfilled. So I think y'all better put more focus on consequences and quit getting out here and being in your feelings and being led by your emotions, because being led by your emotions is getting your life taken, and now your children's emotions are going to be jacked up for the rest of their life. Your girl's emotions are going to be jacked up for the rest of their life because you was in your emotions and you was led by your emotions. Your emotions dictated your actions, which led to you being motionless. Look, man, we got to think. Think, black man. Think. Think, black woman. Think, black community. Think. Stop. Sit down for a minute. Quit doing all of this stupid stuff that we doing. All of this extra stuff that we doing, thinking that we are building up a good life. We ain't doing nothing but building a whole lot of aggravation and a whole lot of frustration because we think we need this stuff. We don't. Stop and take some time to think and look at what's really happening in the world around you. Some of you scared to because you have an idea what's going on, but you don't want to believe it because it's too horrible for you to think about. So you would rather just fill your day up and fill your life up with so much stuff that you don't have to deal with what's really going on. You gotta stop being scared. Stop being scared to think and see what's really going on in this world. The fact that we even having this conversation about this situation tells you where we are as a people, as a human society, just as human beings. We're failing. We are failing poorly in the area of being a human being. And then the decisions that's being made by the judicial system are so garbage. You look at our Supreme Court right now, they're so garbage. They're so divided. They're so indecisive. They're so led by their emotions. Kavanaugh cried his way into his seat. He cried his way into his seat. Emotions. He pulled at their heartstrings and all of that stuff that you always fall for. And I'm not just talking about the right, because there's two wings on this bird. Me and my homie was talking about it the other day. There's two wings on the bird, then there's two sides on the same coin. So let's not get it construed like I'm just trying to single out right-wing conservatives. No, I'm talking about everybody across the board. They're all accountable, and we're accountable right along with them because we allowed them to do so, and we fed into it. So how then can we sit there and criticize the things that we supported because we was blind and because we was too lazy to actually think? So everything that's going on in this country, we better quit pointing fingers at everybody else because we allowed it to happen. We allowed it to happen. You sat there and watched this car wreck and you knew it was about to be a car wreck. You didn't say nothing. You didn't do nothing. You just sat there and watched these cars crash head on with each other. And then want to criticize afterwards, even though you had a vital role to play in it. You could have done something, but you didn't. You sat back and you was a spectator while everybody else had to clean up the mess. Mr. Jose Alba, I hope that this DA comes to a good conclusion and a good judgment based on this situation that took place. Is very unfortunate that the young man lost his life. But like I said before, he brought that upon himself. His actions and being led by his emotions and not being able to think logically and clearly, and always resorting to violence and intimidation is what made this young man lose his life on that day in front of his family. And the family of Mr. Austin wants to make Mr. Alba out to be a bad guy and a this and that, but no. You have to accept responsibility and accountability for the way that Mr. Austin dealt with Mr. Alba. The disrespect that he had for an elder. That man was 60. He was almost twice Mr. Austin's age. He was almost twice his age. And he had that much disrespect in him that he would physically assault his elder over a car declining on some chips. This is how little he thought of respect for his elder, and it cost him his life. Y'all better wake up. Y'all better wise up. Some people out here is not playing with you. You're not gonna put your hands on people and think you're gonna walk away like you do. At some point, somebody is gonna catch you and they gonna take you out of here. So for all of y'all who agree with what Mr. Austin Simon did, or Simon Austin, however his name go, no disrespect and my apologies to the family, but I'm just saying, if you feel like that was the route to go and you backing that, and that's how you handle situations, don't be surprised when you end up like this. Now, this is your boy D Mac, man. I'm getting out of here. Y'all know what I say. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word can always heal you. I'm out.